We are coming up on a year since Sebastian Rogers' disappearance. In this past year, it's been less about Sebastian Rogers and more about the war between the parents and creators on both sides. One side has been harassing the mother of Sebastian Rogers and already accusing her for being involved.
Sebastian Rogers' mother, stepfather, and step-grandparents have largely remained out of the media, but they claim Bullhorn Betty has stalked and harassed them. The courtroom was split today into two sides. The YouTuber and Sebastian's father, Seth, sat on one side. His mom, Katie, stepfather, Chris, and step-grandparents were on the other side. Court documents claim Bullhorn Betty violated the order of protection by mentioning the family on a live stream. The brief hearing ended with the judge saying the matters would be heard on October 10th. Seth Rogers tells me it was frustrating to sit in a courtroom while his son is still missing.
Now, new photos have been released, but it's not very clear what we're looking at. But a lot of people are speculating it's Sebastian's mother and stepfather with Sebastian. Tonight we have on the controversial Queen Bee herself. After our first video on Sebastian Rogers, Queen Bee reacted to it and said we actually got stuff wrong. So tonight we have her on for her knowledge of what really is going on in this Sebastian Rogers case.
YouTube Streets Podcast, man. New Age Plug. You did it again. You already know what it is. We got DVS stuck in the system, straight from New York in the building. And we also got one of the top channels when it comes to Sebastian Rogers. And you need to get the information. She's running it. You know, you got every character coming at her that's involved with it right now. We got Miss Queen Bee in the building. How you doing?
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing?
I ain't gonna lie. You're probably one of the hardest workers on YouTube, too. You and JD Delay.
Man, it takes a lot, though. It takes a lot.
You're consistent. I don't think there's a day goes by where you're not live and where you're not going face first and getting the right information. That's why we got you here, because we actually did one video on Sebastian Rogers. You guys reacted to it, and I was watching. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do another one until I get her on or whoever on that panel. I know a couple people on the panel were dogging us a little bit, but I liked how the respect level you came with, and you were like, well, listen, guys, you got this wrong, and we're going to try to get everything right today.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot to this to Sebastian's case. There's a lot to it.
Well, let's start with you. Why did you start doing YouTube, Miss Queen Bee?
Well, following a case, Sophie Long, and it turned into mainly a child custody case that was brought to YouTube. That shouldn't have been brought to YouTube. And the father had used social media to attack the mom.
Okay, kind of similar to the Sebastian Rogers case a little bit.
Yep. So, of course, we were right there to help the mother, because when you have a group of 30, you have a group of 30 people compared to 300,000 people like, the father had, that's a big difference, that's a real big difference. And, there was one video that was put out that was edited, and it took the internet by storm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of went viral with that case first.
Yeah, we got into that case, and that's kind of what led us into this, because I was a moderator for another creator, and she had a bigger channel, and so we started a smaller one, just like a spin-off to where we could go talk about stuff afterwards. And then my channel turned into what it turned into, just because we had kind of tried to go more towards the family members that were being attacked or accused or falsely accused, or basically in the public's eye, they were guilty already. So we tried to be the barrier, if you will.
Okay. And so when did you start doing the Sebastian Rogers case?
Actually, as soon as we had heard he was missing, we tapped in and started following it. And it just had gotten to the point where it's like a complete total circus at this point. And honestly, it's really sad. A lot of people will not even touch this case with a 10-foot pole because of the injunctions, lawsuits, and the craziness that goes with it. So I appreciate you guys covering it as well, because a lot of people will not.
Yeah, no,
Right.
A lot of people don't want to deal with the facts. They want to be told sweet lies.
Yeah, and one of the things that you can go to with that is that Crime Timelines. The website that I sent you guys. That's one of the things we also follow for facts. If you don't want to do one side or the other, because there are as you will, teams or whatever you want to say, however you want to say that, with Sebastian's army, aka the green team, and then there's us who try to combat, the crap with facts and things that that, like this. Here you go. This right here is a complete. There you go. A complete rundown of everything in this case. Interviews on both sides, mom and dad, stepdad.
And you're a mother as well. So when it comes to these kind of cases, you got to be feeling some type of way, because I know DVS is a father. I'm a father. There's a lot of activity we're seeing from both sides. I don't think I could put myself on a StreamYard while my son is missing. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There ain't no way I'd be able to entertain this bullshit if my child was missing. Oh, absolutely. Hell no. No, absolutely not. No, and there's several. Okay, so if you go through these are all the interviews, and then they actually go down to they listen. This is how they get down to the transcripts. That's the transcripts of the videos of the live streams that he did. So it even breaks it down even further of here's the video and here's the transcript of the video of his specific things that Seth has said, or Chris has said, or Katie has said. Katie is not one that does social media. She does not like to be on social media. She was not someone that was on social media prior to this happening. And she's received several death threats, phone calls, people driving by her house. They know the location of her house, her parents' house, her husband's parents' house. They were showing the layout of her house on there. So even if Sebastian were to come home, everyone has the layout of their house, from room to windows to doors to, you name it, they have it. It's out here. Some of the most personal things about Sebastian were put out by his own father that should have never made it to YouTube.
So days prior to when Sebastian went missing, was there any red flags? Has there ever been red flags that you've seen to where there's a direction where we would think he is gone? Because a lot of people are saying that the kid was getting abuse from both sides of the family and might have just ran away himself. And I think I might have heard you say that.
Yep. And that's exactly what we said at first. At first it come out with the CPS reports. And then if you recall, there was a live done on Web Sleuths where Chris had came up and said that he had done a lashing with the belt on Sebastian. However, there was also reports that I just touched base on yesterday in Katie's declaration where Seth had allegedly also hit him with the belt. So that's where the abuse on both sides comes into play.
This is the thing. He knew that he was going to be going to Seth's house. So there's a possibility where Sebastian didn't want the abuse from everywhere he was at.
Yeah. And, that's another thing too. We just don't know, we know what we do know is what's been documented and what's out, what's been put out. But in my opinion, when we very first started this, all I could think of was, his mom, he lived with his mom and his stepdad, and, he was to start living with Seth, after the school year. So it just made me wonder after reading Katie's declaration, if he didn't, leave or run away, if you will, or even, go with, I keep saying, in my opinion, I feel like he was lured out. And I don't think it would be hard to do that with someone, that's such kind and open-hearted like Sebastian. He doesn't, in my opinion, he was not raised in the streets. He doesn't know the ins and outs of the streets. He doesn't know the dangers like we know, like adults, or, what I'm saying, people who have lived a different lifestyle than him. He doesn't understand that stuff. So with that said, he could have easily been lured out, or he could have left on his own. Again, like I said, when the declaration came out, it was really hard to stomach. It was really hard to read it, and let alone listen to it.
I keep thinking that if the parents had something to do with it, they would have made it look different. Like he would have had his shoes on, he would have had his switch. They would have, they would have kept him occupied with the switch, or for him not to have anything, or they're saying that
You're
he
no
didn't have
tracking at
shoes.
all. You're nothing at all. Like there was nothing that could track him at all. Like, that was alarming for me because from my
Yeah.
understanding, he always carried around a switch. Like that was his comfort. He was in a safe zone when he had that. So for him to just leave without those things is kind of alarming to me. Phone, no nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to take off with nothing, yeah, without his phone, without his stuff. But and that's another thing too, that's like the other, I guess you could say the other side says basically he didn't leave that house on his own. And that's their thing. He didn't leave with no shoes on, his phone and stuff like that. They are insinuating that all in all, in my opinion, that Katie did something to him and then removed him from the home.
Wow, there's a lot of things that have been going around, right? I know that they said they had the dogs that hit a scent to some sort of man-made pond or lake that's closer nearby.
That's what Dog keeps pointing out. So why is Dog the bounty? I know Dog, and we'll get into that. Dog the bounty hunter did join late last year on this case. Why does he keep bringing up that construction site? They need to go look at that more.
Dog is not really essential to this case. When he first came on to do an interview, he didn't even know Seth's name. He called him Sean and Nicholas. He called Sebastian Nicholas. So,
oh my God.
We began at the very beginning. I thought Sean may be involved in some kind of disappearance, or I thought the little boy was deceased. Days now into it, I have talked to Sean. I know that he was working. This guy can barely even talk without crying. Listen, I'm going to hunt these people down. I think the boy is still alive. I'm telling you right now, Ashley, I think this little boy was stashed somewhere because custody was just going to get very soon, very, very soon. Mr. Rogers was going to get custody of his son.
Yeah, he didn't know either of their names. And it was on an interview, and he still did not know their names. So, to me, I feel like she used this case as clout, in my opinion. Just,
the case of Biden?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, the case of Biden?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shit. That's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, because when they said, how do you feel? He said, well, Sean and Nicholas. And I'm like, who is Sean and who is Nicholas? And at that point, I'm like, that he can't be serious right now. How are you going to search for a missing teenager when you don't know his name? Yeah, he's definitely tried to clear that up. And he's came on here several times,
Well, we think he's trying to hook up with Bullhead Betty because she kind of looks like his ex-wife that passed away. They're trying to make it where they're the only ones searching for him. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and what's really odd is they keep saying that they're the ones searching, that Seth's been searching, and he's been doing all this, and he has not been actually.
Well, yeah, because that has been confirmed. He's not even there.
Right. And so Seth is now actually, in my opinion, still in Oklahoma with Tony, and has been since December. Even prior to that, he was on disability, and he actually said it on another channel, and so did someone else, that due to his disability, he is not able to physically search. So in the last time that he actually searched for Sebastian Seth Rogers was in April of last year. Now, another thing too is they say Chris and Katie aren't searching. Well, just because they don't report it to YouTube or come on YouTube and post videos of it does not mean they're not searching. They they've actually searched a lot. They were just recently searching with SF and another YouTuber and her husband as well. She puts snacks out, and this breaks my heart. She puts his favorite snacks out because she feels like if he is out there, he's got to be hungry, and she knows that he misses his snacks. She knows that he's gonna want those. You know what I mean? In her mind, and it breaks my heart because she still holds on to that. She still holds on to his favorite snack because she wants him home. She wants him to come home.
There's even people believe that she might not even know what Chris did. Like, she thinks there's people that believe that Chris might have something to do with it, which this is all allegedly, y'all. This isn't, but, and then because the way that she comes off, she doesn't seem like somebody that is clout chasing. She's definitely not clout chasing. She's not on social media. She seems hurt. She seems confused. It doesn't seem like somebody that's we've seen these type of women that come on and you can just tell, like Jodi Arias, like Casey Anthony, like they're evil as fuck. The only thing
Oh
that
yeah,
we were criticizing was the last footage with Sebastian Rogers. She was looking around everywhere, but again, she could have been looking for the waiter to get her lemon for her sweet tea.
right, right. Well, and not only that, I mean, it was a busy restaurant. We don't know. There was no sound in there either, you know. So I mean, we have no idea what was really going on. All we can do is assume.
Yep, just assume. Put the ass in
Yeah.
assume, definitely.
That's right, for sure, for sure. I think they get a lot of hate, and to be honest with you, the TBI and the police have already checked with Chris and his boss, and he was working, and they checked with Seth and his boss, and he was also working. So both of them were at work when this happened. When Sebastian disappeared or went missing, they were both at work. They were logged into work.
I didn't know that. So they
Yeah.
weren't even okay. So Sebastian was home alone.
No, Sebastian was home with Katie. Katie
Okay.
was on the phone with Chris. Seth was at work at the jail. Chris was at work as well, 3 hours away.
Oh, so that's why they pointed at her, because she's the last person that's seen him, and she was the one home alone with him.
Absolutely. So they put it off on Katie, and they are saying that she did something. Actually, Bullhorn Betty has blatantly came out and accused her of murdering her own child.
Do you think there's a connection between, like in Tennessee in general, with the Summer Wells case? Do you think is there somebody going around kidnapping children? You think?
No, I mean, we know that there's, as trafficking. Well, I don't want to flag your channel, but we know that there's trafficking, and we know that that kind of stuff goes on. But we also know that, teenage kids, they run away. They do things. They think they know what's going on. They think they're smarter than their parents. And you know what I mean? Like, how many times have you ran away when you were a teenager? I know I did.
Yeah, I did too. A couple times, definitely.
I know I did. I thought I just knew it all. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't have told me there was no danger out there. You know what I mean? I'd have been like, oh, I'm invisible. I'm good. You can't tell me nothing. And you know what I'm saying? Not to mention it, we live, these kids live in a whole different world than we did with the social media and the gaming. Just like with Roblox. Roblox was one of his favorite games that he played. And there's a chat on there as well. It's a predator's paradise.
Wow, that's another thing I didn't hear. I didn't even put it in my head. The Roblox, yeah, Roblox was around then. Yeah,
mm-hmm. And he loved playing Roblox. He loved video games. He actually would, when he would go to the week to his dad's house on the weekends, his dad would go to work and work a 12 to 14-hour shift. Sebastian would stay home alone. While he was home alone, he would play video games, and he would use Seth's account, meaning he would play with adults on his game with the headset, and he would talk to adults while Sean was at work or Seth was at work. There's a reason why they took his devices and have not given them back yet. They still have yet to give Seth his devices back.
So I was going to get to that. There's stuff in this case that the public doesn't know and that they're holding. Exactly. They got over hundreds and hundreds of tips, and they've only released a certain amount.
They have hundreds of hours of footage. There's a reason why they say he was last seen on February 26th. In my opinion, I feel like they have him on video somewhere, and I don't know where, because obviously they're keeping that under wraps. But I feel like they seen him on video somewhere on the 26th, which is why they keep saying the 26th.
Now, last year we dealt with this personally with the YouTube streets. DBS's child went missing, and then she ended up coming. He ended up finding her, and she's back home now. But
it's nothing like Sebastian's case. It's nothing to that.
Right. Well, that goes to show teenagers. I mean, you just really never know these days. You really just don't.
That's facts.
Yeah, you don't. You don't know. You absolutely don't, and especially if they can't communicate or articulate themselves in a way where they can let you know. You would never know.
Yeah, and they're growing up in a whole different world than we are, and it's so stressful to them. They're dealing with things that we never ever had to deal with. There was no Roblox and games and stuff like that on the internet, and I don't know if you've ever seen that show 13 Reasons Why But I think all parents should watch that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that
a,
one. That was a tearjerker. I had to watch it with my wife. She made me watch it, and I ain't gonna
Uh,
lie, it's about children and suicide, so it's
and
definitely a
social
tearjerker.
media.
Yep.
oh wow.
Social media is a game changer. And I call it the belly of the beast because there's so much that goes on, and you like you said, you would never know. You would never know, and so whereas like before back in the day, we could just pass a note and say, I'm dating such and such, right? And it would take like a week or two to get around the school
Yep.
for everybody to hear about it. On social media, you say I'm dating such and such, and you hit send, and the entire
Instantly.
school or 2,000 people know within seconds.
Yep.
And that's it can be detrimental to mental health, and you know what I'm saying, to these kids. And then that's another thing. Sebastian he was so eager to have friends. That's all he wanted was friends. I'm sorry, honey, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. It was probably he was yearning for someone to talk to express the stuff that was going on. He hopefully, he probably hoping somebody would listen. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, the things that I've heard, allegedly, they're not good things for a child that has those disabilities. You don't handle a child in those ways. So
Well,
you
more
know,
on Seth's side now with DBS because look, sorry to cut you off, but more on because look, we were thinking the Proudfoots were doing that, but then when we seen some of the CPS, one of them reports was all Chris Proudfoot did was take the electronics away. He didn't do any abuse. He ended up telling the teacher that he was upset at home. They came and they explained everything, and it wasn't abuse. Now, his previous children, I think that's irrelevant. It's not irrelevant to the motive, but it's irrelevant to this case, in general, like with Sebastian himself. I don't think Chris Proudfoot was abusing Sebastian. Now we heard and we've seen
I
reports
don't think
Queen
he
B
was.
showed us that Seth was actually the one doing that.
Yeah, the declaration. Matter of fact, do you want me to play it, or do you want me to read
Yeah,
it?
go ahead. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. We got to.
Yeah, there's a clip here from Hartley. She actually put it together last night from my live. It's I'll pull it up right now. Nobody's really talking about this. It's very interesting, so I'll go ahead and play it. But this has it's got three parts to it, but it's actually got two pictures with it that I've refused to show. It has pictures of Sebastian with bruises that Katie took and turned over, and I'm not showing this. However, I will read over this real fast. But it says, since returning from deployment in December, I have witnessed a multitude of events from Seth. I have seen him hit Sebastian in the head, neck, and back. I have witnessed him, when taking his anger out on Sebastian, grab him with both hands and lift his entire body up and slam him down, and then proceed to beat him about it, and told him he cannot do that and he cannot keep doing that because it is wrong. He told me it wasn't that hard and it is fine. People need to stop telling him how to raise his son.
Whoever just said that, why are we not talking about this? 100%, bro. 100%. Why are we not talking about this? And another thing too
Straight up.
is okay, first of all, he's autistic, bro. There's certain ways you got to parent, and we are learning to be a better parent every day. So when someone gives me advice, I never say that, oh, don't teach me how to raise my kids. Like I'll listen to what you got to say. I might not take it in, but it just shows that he's just one track minded and he don't give a fuck what anybody's got to say about anything.
Absolutely. Don't tell me how to raise my kid, is what he said. Fear of making a mistake and fear that his daddy will beat him. He had an accident at school where he wet his pants and was terrified for his daddy to find out. He is displaying, and this is what makes me think if he
That's
thought
not
he was
good.
gonna go live with his dad.
and this is
my
his
opinion, I
bio
think
dad.
This is the bio dad DVS. That's what I was trying to explain to you, bro. Both sides, you can see how the media and the narrative is switching. But when I found, and we had Queen B, reacted to our video, I started to see and started to hear there is a lot more that we don't know about, bro. And we're
Yeah.
learning right now.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, there's a
man.
whole other side to this.
That changes the game for real.
But he was at work though. But again, I think they need to look into the Roblox thing. I think that's very important. And I don't know, man. This is
Oh, the
definitely
online games, but this gets even worse. After this, they keep talking about CPS reports, and of course there was CPS reports, two that we are aware of. One where you had played in your first one, where Chris said that they had called because Sebastian was upset and wanted him removed from the home. He was angry with him and upset with him and thought calling CPS would get him removed. Correct? Do you remember that?
right.
Okay, so he also did. He also went to the school and told them that his father was beating him, and I have it clipped out as well, and we'll play that afterwards. Because the way he responded blew me out of the water. This was a social worker there to check their home, and he knew it. Attached are pictures of my son with marks left by the respondent. I certify under penalty of perjury, under the laws in the state of California, that the foregoing is true and correct. Katie Rogers.
And that was her maiden name. Well, not her maiden name. That was her name when she was married to Seth.
That's her declaration, and she actually received. She was granted her divorce and full custody at that time.
Wow. DBS, how you feel about that?
I think that's crazy, man. I think that changes everything, but it makes everything more complex because now it's harder to figure out what's what. It's nothing's really like there's so many obstacles now. Like you don't know who to look at, where to look at. Like the distractions are really like I don't know, man. It's definitely taking away from finding Sebastian. I'll tell you that.
I noticed when there's ever a picture that gets released that they might say it might be Sebastian, Seth is always the first one to jump out and say, no, that's not him. And that was always like, well, I mean, okay, but I get it. But
did you ever hear about the other thing that they're saying? I don't know how true this is, that they sent him away to a group home and he's living like in a campus.
Yeah, that
group
was
home.
another rumor. And that was a rumor, and that actually stemmed from Katie, Chris, and Seth. They sat down and spoke together about that being an option, and what it would cost if it would be something that they would be able to do. For Sebastian to get more group therapy and better therapy, be able to be an active group therapy kind of thing. It's kind of hard to explain, but anyhow, either way, they couldn't afford it at that time, and they also included Seth in that conversation. So I'm not sure why he is saying that they did this all, under his nose. He was a part of the conversation, and he was a part of, financially not being able to send him there because they weren't financially able to afford that.
Wow.
So here is the I got in the back where he actually talks about Sebastian going to school and calling CPS on his dad. And this is how Seth responded.
My son went to school and told his teacher that I beat his ass. And when CPS showed up, I was like, I told him to clean his room. I was going to bust his butt. Did you bust his butt? No, he cleaned his room. Mm-hmm. There was the threat of a butt whooping.
Right.
And it was like, well, he said that you were going to beat him. And I'm like, wow, okay. So when he came home, I literally turned on Mortal Kombat and I turned the blood action on, and I showed him what a beatdown was through video games.
What?
I was like, you see all that blood?
Yo,
so you mean to tell me your autistic child
that's wild.
Goes to school and says that you're going to beat him, and you respond with taking him home, putting on a video game, and putting on the blood action and showing an actual person getting the fuck beat out of them. And then he has the audacity to tell Sebastian to choose his words better.
Yeah, I don't like the way he deals with him on any level, really, because that right there, like that you can't. So images for children that are autistic are a very real thing. So it's almost like a simulation of an actual. I know this is gonna sound crazy. It's almost like a simulation of an actual beating. You know what I mean? Who's to say he could take he
Right.
emotionally and mentally he could take that? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not doing it to you physically, but I'm gonna show you where you can digest this emotionally. You know what I mean? Like, and he's kind of putting a glitch in him. You know what I mean? Because it's like he's doing it to him without doing it to him, but he's scrambling him up. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't like his tactics. He's got something going on with that. I don't know. And I'm not a perfect parent, but I know for a fact that's wild right there.
And wrong, and wrong. You can leave me out of your little perverted, OnlyFans shit, Josh.
That's what we need to get back to. Like, where did this entitlement come from where people think they have the right to dictate what others do or say anyway?
They have said that to me. And it's like people have absolutely, I shouldn't talk about this or I shouldn't talk about that.
Somebody's spanking something.
And it always.
I'm almost there. Leave me alone.
Oh my God. I thought I was getting a slow clap for a second.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how you reenact that unless you got Copenhagen and you're doing that noise with the dip. I don't know how you reenact that.
Wow.
I know. It's like that's probably the most craziest thing besides. So it makes sense why he aligns himself with Bullhead Betty and people on that side. Inappropriate activity all around.
Yeah, and then you know the person that he sees as his voice, actively has 4 order protections against her right now with 7 violations. Against Katie, Chris, and his parents.
So what's her deal? Why did she get? She did the same thing with Brian Laundrie.
Why did she get in with who?
Like, why did she get so where she has to go with her bullhorn and go to people? Like, she did the same thing with Brian Laundrie's parents.
Yeah, she that's how she makes her money. She actually sued them, and the excuse was to make them a little crazy, as if they weren't going through enough as it is. She sued them for $40.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the people that he has speaking for him. Let's go through this though. He also has Nick the Hat.
Okay.
Who's out on parole right now. He also has Tony. That's one of his, Tony Mathis. That's his PR person. And he, in my opinion, has not helped very much. He might be a good friend to Seth behind the scenes, but he is not doing a good job in, you know what I'm saying, to, help Seth in any way, shape, or form. He actually had a alleged mess up on TikTok where he went to the restroom and didn't turn the green screen off, and something was shown that shouldn't have been.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's been a disaster since he hired these people. And the team of people he has at Night Media, he actually just joined a civil lawsuit that they call the RICO. And Seth Rogers is a main part of that.
Yeah, the RICO. I hear that a lot.
Uh-huh. They say it's federal. It's not. It's very, very disheartening that they would even turn Sebastian's name into the shit show circus that it's been turned into. And that right there is exactly why people do not want any parts of this case, and they don't want to cover it because of the lawsuits, the threats, the
so you know what I keep on thinking
had
about?
To leave her house. Katie and Chris had to leave their house, physically leave their house, because they had people stalking them, driving by their house, recording it, putting it on videos, using it as content, making death threats. I don't know if you care. I'm going to go ahead and play this phone call that they got. This is a phone call that the Bauer Sox received, and this is one of many. They have this is one of there's many of them. If we put them all out, which TBI has most of them, the ones that have the actual threats, there's some that they just get real nasty, but this one right here is very disturbing. And this right here is what they deal with on a daily basis.
Hello. I just wanted to let you know that you and your husband and son are going to burn in hellfire and sulfur for the rest of eternity.
Hellfire.
No, for killing a little child with a disorder, a sick child. I just wanted you to know you're going to burn in hell.
Oh my.
I will give anything. If I could pick anybody in the world to watch die, it would be you and your husband and
Oh
your
my gosh. Hate begets hate.
Turn yourselves in, you evil, evil people. Turn yourselves in.
Jeez.
We don't know who did what. You can't say stuff like that. You can't do stuff like that.
That's
Watch it backfire on a lot of people because when the truth comes out, that's not good. You can get locked up for doing stuff like that. That's a threat.
Yes. And I mean, there's been several. She's a burning hellfire.
Hellfire. Brimstone shit. She is wild. Holy cow.
Right.
Let me ask you this though, Queen Bee. What do you think happened to Sebastian Rogers? Your personal opinion, without just everything you know.
What's my opinion on it? I listen, in my honest opinion, I feel like he, in the midst of what was already going on, him going back and forth between his moms and his dads. Mom has him on meds. Dad takes him off. He goes over. He's monitored by mom with mom all the time. When he goes to dad's, he's usually on the video games and dad's gone. So he has a little more freedom as a 15-year-old boy. I'm sure he really, enjoys that. But I'm sure in the midst of this all, he's made friends. Or so he thought, what he thought might have been friends. And I feel like, in my opinion, that he was lured out. I feel like someone took advantage of the situation. And I feel like, ultimately he, again, was not aware of the dangers. And that's why I feel like he left with no shoes on and none of his stuff, because, at that point, I'll just pull up and pick you up. I mean, it's a predator's paradise. Like I said, he loved cats. Hey, I got kittens. Just run out here. You ain't even got to bring your shoes. I got you new shoes. I got slippers or whatever you can throw on. I mean, people are like, how do you leave with none of his stuff? Well, I mean, it's simple. He wanted friends. That's what he wanted. That was the ultimate thing that he wanted. He wanted friends. And in my opinion, I feel like someone took advantage of that. Teenagers are living in a whole different world than we're living in right now.
Do you think he's still alive?
In my opinion, he's a 15-year-old boy. He's very smart. I cannot see him running into the woods and staying in the woods with no food and no socks, no shoes, none of that. I can't see him running into the water in February when it's cold as hell with no shoes on. I can't see him willingly just being like, okay, here, come, put me in the water. No. In my opinion, I don't see his mom hurting him either. She loved her son with all her heart. I cannot see her hurting her son and murdering her son. In my opinion, I just don't see that.
A lot of people believe he's still alive. Do you think he's still alive?
I do. And I feel like if he wasn't lured out, then it's another Ruby. What is that? Rubio. Where the little boy was, they said he was missing. And then when he turned 18, he all of a sudden was found.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And that's kind of how I feel. I feel like if he wasn't lured out, you know what I'm saying, via his games and things like that, which is why I said Seth's devices are still with the TBI. And so if that's not what happened, then yeah, I feel like, he might just up and show up when he's 18. But I also have questions as to with Seth, why did his mom just all of a sudden stop looking? She doesn't communicate. She doesn't come out and say anything. Boom. She just wished you the best and moved on and moved.
The grandmother, right?
Yeah. She went from having a real small house to having a bigger house. It's just very odd. These things are just really odd. And why else? Who better to say, leave all your stuff behind than a family friend or someone that you know you can trust, and they say, oh, we'll buy you shoes, don't worry about it, we got you a new pair, we got you your stuff, you have a brand new phone, brand new iPads, blah blah blah. I feel like Sebastian was very gullible.
Right.
Whether it was a family friend or a predator, he was taken advantage of in that aspect, in my opinion.
Yeah, 2025. I hope they find him. So let's get to that. Let's say they find him, Queen Bee. What is the next steps after that? Do you think that he should go back to Miss Proudfoot? Because some people say that he should go in the system, which I don't agree with. Because look, DVS has been in the system his whole life, and that doesn't always work out like people think it does.
Absolutely, the system is not good, in my opinion. No, I absolutely feel like he is old enough to make that decision, and when he comes back, he'll be 16 years old. 2 years, he'll be 18. You know, I mean, he turned 16 already in February. You know, and in 4 weeks, it'll be a year that he's been missing. I know that SF said that, you know, he could possibly, you know, he thinks he's within 5 mile radius. You know what I'm saying? 5 to 7 mile radius. But then they say like the Harley Dilly case where, you know, Harley Dilly went to school early, and then he had climbed up in this abandoned house, or, you know what, I don't know if it was abandoned or if it was just built. Either way, he got in the chimney and got stuck. They didn't find him until they seen his coat was actually pushed out and had fallen on the floor. That's when they looked in there and they found him. He you know, that when they were searching, that he was possibly missed.
Could be, could very well be. Let's say he did walk out the house and he took a walk and he tripped, slipped, fell, or maybe tried to climb in something or went somewhere and they missed him. That could be a scenario. Got to remember those dogs, and I keep on talking about the dogs hitting the scent.
Right, but what about the videos? You know what I'm saying? Like all the ring cams and the videos and stuff in the neighborhood. Don't you think he'd have been caught on one of those cameras? And then you got Mob Crew with the lights. I know y'all seen the lights video going on.
Right.
So that's another thing that SF has said several times. Mob Crew is using that as a grift because there's no way it's true. And Mob Crew saying yes it is. And he's asking for SF to share the video footage, and SF said absolutely not, because last time I did, or last time you guys got footage, which is not from him, but last time they got footage or whatever, it was doxed and used over and over and over and over again.
And what are they doing now? Like right now? Like when it comes to like dog and that whole green, I don't know, they call the green team or whatever.
Yeah, the green team, the gummy squad. Yeah, they actually really nothing. I mean, you have one of the plaintiffs in their RICO suit, which is pretty much their Seth, Nick, Hong, Brittany Jackson. They have, all these other, a couple of Betty. They're pretty much on the internet doing the same things, making up lies, making up stories, or spinning narratives.
You know, something that sticks out to me, this is just me, right? But the fact that she said that she heard a loud noise, a bang or some sort.
Yeah.
And she said she told him to go back to bed. She didn't get up. She didn't go check it out. Nothing. And I feel like that's almost like a safety net in a weird sense. This is just me. You know what I mean? I'm just a city kid going.
Right, and it could be. But listen, would you want your mama to come check on you at 15 years old if she heard a noise? Because sometimes the noises ain't always something mama needs to see. You know what I mean?
I get that, but the fact that that's in her story, we have no other. There's nobody else to corroborate that.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, it could have been a window, could have been something he dropped, could have been something he was doing. I mean, I don't know.
It could have been something. It could have been something else, and she's just making up for the noise. I think she's just making up for that noise that could have been heard by anybody, so she has to make sure it's inside of the tail of her story.
Well, there's also a conspiracy too on other Reddit. Sebastian's on all kinds of. There's an alien.
Oh yeah.
Reddit. They think
I was
that
gonna say,
somebody
yeah, I
got
was
a,
thinking that too. I said maybe the aliens came and got him. You know what I mean? I was thinking that. I know that's wild. Sometimes I keep things to myself because I go far, bro. But there's a lot of things that that was definitely one of them. I was like, yeah, maybe the aliens abducted them or something. I mean, they're a thing now. Like it's a real thing. Like,
well, kids go missing all the time, bro. We know about Midnight Productions in the Arizona
Yeah,
and all kinds of stuff. It could be anything.
yeah.
yeah,
You
it's
can't
wild
point.
as hell.
This is the thing. We can't point fingers at the mother and the fathers all the way like where they're going and they're harassing them like Bullhorn Betty and the people calling. That's fucked up because there's no, if we're going by the streets, DVS, you go by paperwork, right? Well, they ain't got paperwork on them yet.
Yeah, they were going off gut feelings or whatever kind of emotions that they had. And I know what Mouth Betty did that, man. That's wild. That's crazy.
And why are they trying to the silence you, Queen Bee? Why what is there? I don't understand why they could be, because if they look at it, Bullhorn Betty is first of all, you're like us, you're an audio only podcast, but they're like so threatened, and I notice like they have to keep your name in their mouth, like not even your name. They call you, what do you call you, the hater squad or something like that.
Oh yeah, they call us hate channels. They say we're mean, we're hateful to Seth. We talk bad about Seth. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just don't understand why. It's like it just shows it's like them self-reflecting. You
I mean,
know,
I
oh,
don't feel like anything I said today was hateful. Do you guys?
no, actually, no, we're just
No,
for all
yeah.
facts, all facts.
I mean, we played their own. I mean, we played his own clips. We played his own words. I don't see how that's hateful. I guess I don't see how that'll be utilized as a hate. I mean, that you had a hate channel on today. Yeah, there's now see Twitter is like the wild wild west right now. It's real bad. There was actually a post that was made by Deception Detective or something. He's really going hard after the parents, and he made some comment about Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger. So Nick the Hat is also on this, and he made a comment back to him about some footage and stuff. And so Jay for Justice was like, hey, that's old footage. Everybody already has that. Well, I don't know why you're trying to put that off as something new. So Nick comments back and says, does Magnolia know? And JLR comes behind him and says, you can keep Magnolia's name out of your fucking mouth. And that's the last time I'm going to tell you.
Now we also defended Mr. Crabtree because I don't care that they're trying to say that he was
Oh, that's
doing.
another one too. Yeah, they said, yep, that's another one. And see, the first thing too with JLR, he had Seth's back, but I think he's seen through his bullshit real fucking quick, and now he's speaking out against it. And I'm grateful for that because I'm telling you right now, he has a bigger channel. And Stephen Crabtree, that's the next one they try to attack. That's Betty went after JLR, and then she went after Stephen Crabtree. And what was
Yeah,
you
so
saying?
Stephen Crabtree, they're trying to say he was doing cocaine. So first of
Yeah,
all, I don't even care if he was doing cocaine, but then I look at it, I'm like, wait a minute, he's not even that. There's no red. Like we looked at it, was just a straw and a, what was it? A straw and a dollar bill? Was it a
yeah,
straw?
I didn't see anything
Oh, a
in it.
cigarette.
I looked, I didn't see shit in there.
It was an American Spirit cigarette. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
So
see, and, I like I said, I didn't see anything in the paper either. He said he was doing it because they keep going after him and attacking him, and going through his videos and all the stuff through it, and they do. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I can't believe it took y'all that long to find it. He said he
yeah,
deliberately left it in there. That he edits his videos and he deliberately left it in there. So I mean, it's just something else that they could fuck with. That's all.
I was asking earlier. I'm like, what are they doing right now?
Nothing. Not one of them has searched at all. Dog the Bounty Hunter made a post saying that he was in Tennessee, but failed to tell everybody he was there for his stepson's wedding. He made people think that he was there for Sebastian Rogers. He was not. He's never searched one day, not 1 foot, for Sebastian, not once. Now, they always say it's a photo op, but, they fail to mention, that Katie doesn't have a channel like Seth does. Seth made a channel and had a GoFundMe within 3 days of Sebastian missing.
Wow.
We have seen a lot of things in these missing, kid cases. That we call them tragedy pimps, because they go after the families of these missing children, missing or murdered kids, and they always attack the families. And it's really sad. It's just they automatically guilty with no trial, no nothing. They just immediately go after him, and that's what Betty's done. And it's really disheartening that the family is being attacked like they are, and the mother is being attacked like she is. And I say this again, she's the one who carried Sebastian for 9 months, and she loves him just as much as Seth does. And I feel like the ones that, keep saying that she should die and burn in hellfire and things like that, I think that's awful. And I don't think that that's standing for Sebastian, because he loves his mother just like he loves his father.
I guess we need to put all these eggs in one basket. I believe in these miracles and I believe in magic. Look up to God one more time and this is what I'm asking. Please bring this boy home, help us find Sebastian. He's somewhere out there alone. These parents won't get out their phone. You know he's really cold. I can feel it in my bones. He's not just fucking bones. Can we just get along and bring this precious boy home? Bring this precious boy home. I know that Chris was gonna hit him with that switch. It's kinda weird he disappeared. He didn't have his Nintendo Switch. He had no shoes on. How many times CPS got called to that damn home? People giving up, yeah, they believe that he's long gone. I see they hired a dog, and now that dog is trying to sue anybody involved. I know that Bullhorn Betty was giving blowjobs behind the chili, stupid bitch. Why don't you do your job? Y'all some tragedy pimps. Tragedy pimps, y'all some tragedy pimps that don't give a shit about Sebastian, just a kid. Yeah, all you really want is the views and the clicks. Y'all couldn't come together for that baby, cause you lazy, also crazy. And the moves that you made had y'all all looking shady. Man, they need to go get Grady. Dog is yelling, better pay me. If you ask him about Brian Laundry, he say he's still in Haiti. They saying fuck you, Katie, cause she said I'ma plead the fifth. I'm not talking no more about my fucking missing kid. That shit don't make no sense unless you had something to do with it. Dog is on his ass, no he ain't. He done lost the scent. Now bring home Sebastian. That is all I'm asking. Try some different tactics. Please just stay active. Please just stay active. Bring home Sebastian. Yeah. Bring home Sebastian. Yeah. And don't take him back to the same homes, man. Find that boy a new home. 16 years old. He's got 2 more years, He needs love. He needs care.